Hello, peeps. Welcome in to another episode of UnMothered podcast. Man, we are racing our way through January, but then at the same time, there was like some memes and stuff going around social media saying, does January feel like it's 689 days? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. I'm ready for February. I'm like pretty much racing into February, although still trying to put finishing touches on that second book. And so I'm like, oh, my project manager is going to kill me because I keep telling her, give me one more month. Give me one more month. So it's getting close. I think I'm a couple weeks away now. Sarah, if you're listening, I promise. 2 more weeks. Just give me 2 more weeks. Oh, gosh. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good month. I know by the time this airs, we probably will be into February or even March because we just keep churning out episodes or trying to find things to really help you guys. I do want to say thank you so much to my UnMothered community, my private Facebook group, which you can join if you answer 3 questions and come on in if you're having mother-daughter issues. I have had a consistent group of women just popping in there, and most of them, when I talk about the 3 questions and stuff, they'll say, I heard about you from the podcast. I started listening to your podcast and really liked what you had to say, and so now I want to join the group. And I will say I'm still trying to figure out a happy medium with that group. I would love to go in there or maybe do some kind of a live masterclass with you women and have a Q&A. And that's on my list for this year. But I am not on there as regularly as I would like because I'm doing these other things, the podcast, I'm writing, I'm speaking in live in person, coaching, that kind of thing. And so my UnMothered community, I just want you guys to know you are free to go on there and just talk about whatever is on your mind. And I would pray that the other women and myself will go in there and just hold your heart well, like be there for you, maybe give you a little tip or something, not really advice, that's like, do this. This is 100% going to work. We're not there to like judge or tell you or fix you, tell you what to do, but we are there to support you. I think that's really important that that that's a safe place for you to just say, oh, I'm so frustrated. So I think that, the purpose of the UnMothered community on Facebook, the private community, is to just feel safe to say, you know what, this is stressful for me today, or maybe you had an encounter with your mom and you're just feeling frustrated and you don't know who to talk to. That's a place to go. Like, just go in there and type away. I've asked some questions in there. I'm not getting a lot of response. I hope you guys feel safe enough to answer those questions. When I'm struggling with something, I try to put that in there to let you guys know, like, hey, I'm in it with you guys. I don't have my mom with me anymore, and so that stressor is gone. But, there's always residual family stuff that goes on, and there's always things in my body that remind me of my mom, which leads me to today's podcast episode, which is when your body goes through trauma. I have a book that we actually had to read this book as part of our homework for our trauma-informed coaching certification. And a lot of you have heard of this book. I was actually talking to a small group last night that I'm leading the exchange with at a different church, not my home church, but they asked me to come and do Garcia's The Exchange course with them. And so I sit at different tables every week and just listen in, talk to them, share things. They share things. It's great. And I asked the ladies at this table, have you heard of this book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk? And one person had, and the rest of the table had not. Still blows my mind because that book is pretty old. I don't have it with me right now to know what year it was written, but I know it's been a while. So it is one of the better books on what your body goes through in trauma. And this was Bessel had gone into therapies for PTSD, like vets, people with extreme trauma, children. Like he tells these different stories in this book of the therapies that they worked through and noticing how their bodies reacted to going back into the histories of them or having them recount things. And so I think that I use this book as a reference in my coaching all the time. I picked it up yesterday. It's, if you ever pick up a book and you just get this like, I love this book. Like you get this giddy feeling. Like that's how I feel about that book, because every time I pick it up and I start reading it again, I learn something from it, which I think is really important if you're buying reference books for certain situations, make sure that the books are one, pretty legit, someone who has been in that field or has devoted their life to this particular work. Like I will say, if you want references for this kind of work, the Allender Center, Dan Allender, he's on Instagram too, has an amazing center in Seattle and has written several books that are so good about our traumas and our bodies and how God works all these things out in these traumas for us to become the people that we are meant to be, and how oftentimes we miss that mark because we're so enmeshed in the things that we have believed in. So in order to engage in our most healthy selves, we have to engage in what our bodies are doing and feeling. It's the most important part of releasing the trauma that has been put upon you. And I want to explore what trauma feels like and how you can start simple steps today to work towards moving some of that out of your body for good. So as I'm putting the finishing touches on this latest book, one of the references that I am going to be using is this book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. It has so many nuggets of truth, and it helps you understand why we react to certain environments or certain peoples, either in a negative or a positive way, and how our bodies like just go into these places really of our past. I was having lunch with a friend last week, and we were both saying how when we first met, we instantly felt a connection with each other. We had never met before, but we knew each other through mutual friends. And for her, she said it was my eyes. She always pays attention to people's eyes and how they look at her or don't look at her, or make that locking in eye contact where they're really genuinely interested. Not people who have rehearsed. I know some people who are like, I'm going to make eye contact. This is what I'm supposed to do. But there's kind of a glazed over look. When somebody, it's like when they say the eyes are the window of the soul, you can see the warmth in someone's eyes. You can see the deceit in someone's eyes. You can see when someone's kind of lying to you, or you're feeling like they're lying to you because you're looking in their eyes and you're like, something's off. I can't put my finger on it, but something's off. This is what my friend bases things off. And she goes, as soon as I locked eyes with you, I could see the warmth and the friendly, the safety that I felt with you. And I wanted to tell my story with you. And I said, I felt the same way. Now, for me, it's a warmth that I feel as soon as I walk in the room. So I have a huge intuitive spirit, which can be a bad thing because I actually pick up on people's emotions all in the room. So when I go out, when I tell people I'm an introvert, extrovert, you put a microphone in front of me, like I'm good. Like I'm not shy. There's a difference, but I'm introverted, where because I pick up on everybody's energies in the room, I get exhausted by the time I walk out of that room after a party or a get-together event, whatever. Love it for the moment, but I'm feeling all these emotions. And then I walk out and I'm like, I need a day to get myself back together. But there's also that feeling of like when you meet someone for the first time, or you either feel safe or you feel triggered. And why is that? Our past experiences and how our brains react is why that comes out in our body. One of the most eye-opening paragraphs in this book says it takes tremendous energy to keep functioning while carrying the memory of terror and shame, of utter weakness and vulnerability. Wow. So there are people walking around with, not everyone has big T trauma. It's not what I'm talking to you guys that have gone through. Most of you that listen to this podcast have big T traumas with your moms, or maybe other people in your family too. And you're walking around really trying to gather up the energy because people tell you you're supposed to get over it. You're not supposed to lead with your emotions. And I 100% agree with that. You're not. But that doesn't mean that your body's not experiencing some things that are going to trigger you because you've had these big T traumas, and it takes you back to that little girl that was really scared and helpless. And if you don't recognize that and what to do when that happens, you're going to walk around carrying that memory of terror and the shame of utter weakness and vulnerability. And this is why people react the way they do. And you go, why are they acting so weird? It's because they're trying to hold on to their stuff and hide it from you because they don't want people to know this is really affecting me in my body right now. And everyone's telling me it's not supposed to. So I'm holding on for dear life. My new friend and I had experienced a lot of trauma from our past. So when we walked in that room, we were hyper vigilant to checking each other out. The funny thing, though, is when you meet someone who's been hurt and has started walking a path of healing, you feel a rawness and a connection to them. God does things like that. There was no pretense, just honesty, lots of laughter, lots of love. And if you're experiencing those things, let's dive into the whys and how we can start to rework your brain to a more positive place so that when you walk into a room like we did, we were like, we see each other. We're good. As a matter of fact, that lunch was 2.5 hours long this last time because we were talking about so much stuff. We hadn't seen each other in probably about 4 months. Oh my gosh, it was like a love fest. We met at a restaurant and we shut that restaurant down. The whole lunch crowd came and went and we were like, wait, what time is it? Oh, it's 2:30. We got to go. It was so fun. But before that, our bodies were in this hyper-vigilant state. We, in the past, didn't trust and didn't really make friends and didn't trust women in particular. She also has a mother issue. And so very interesting when you meet like-minded people and you get it with each other. It's pretty cool. Where do you start when your body's feeling all kinds of stress? Do you rage at anyone who gets in your way, or maybe the opposite? You shut down and you feel nothing. Either one of these is not healthy or can support you long term, and you're going to hit a burnout. Ask me how I know. Also, I'm the shutdown girl, in case you were wondering. I'm sure I've said that before, but yeah, I'm the numb out girl. And eventually, you're going to need to start asking yourself, what more do you want besides this stressful feeling? One of the things that I always did to protect myself as a child was to fawn or freeze. And what that means is I would shut down completely, like no voice, no movement, so I wouldn't be harmed. So I would see the violence going on around me and I would just become a statue. Like if I could just disappear into the couch right now, that's what I'm going to do so that the hits don't come towards me. It served me well then because I needed to survive, but it soaked in my body and brain when I became an adult. I had a hard time communicating in relationships, and if things got heated, I shut down. I was horrible at asking for what I wanted or what I needed. And oftentimes I was so frustrated. I raged, I overdrank, I did drugs just to escape. And all of this led to disastrous relationships that left me lost and hopeless and feeling very unloved. We know that behaviors are not the result of moral failings or lack of a willpower or someone being inherently bad. They're caused by actual changes in your brain. The traumas we've experienced have made us repeat bad behaviors or problems because we don't know what else to do. Until we start to explore and question why we do what we do, our bodies and brains will continue down the same road. But there's good news. We can actually change brain chemistry once we recognize the issue. I read recently that it takes 30 times for us to learn something new before it starts to seep in your brain to actually flip the switch and change the dynamics that's going on in your brain. The habit that you do all the time, it takes you 30 times to like create the new thing so that it actually rewires your brain and helps you to think in a new way. So it's not your fault when you know that you should be learning how to fix this new habit, but somehow you can't connect it right away. You have to keep reminding yourself to continue doing it, continue learning, so it will change the neurons in your brain to create new habits. Trauma affects everything: your body, your mind, your spirit, your brain. It can send us into a rage or a total shutdown. This affects your whole being, and it can stand in the way of you creating a loving, healthy, and long-term relationship with others. You have to reprogram. And I know that sounds robotic. It's not how I mean it, but you do have to actually put the time in to re-switch those things in your brain that have been traumatized and wired in a certain way that every time you get triggered by this thing, it's like danger, danger, danger. That is not truth. You have to rewire it. It's not dangerous. It's okay. You are safe. You are here right now. We have to feel the release and feel the full person that God has meant for you to be all along. The work I've done on myself and with others is probably some of the most rewarding work that I've ever done. And I can walk through some hard stories with my clients and let them know that this isn't their fault. When they are allowed to feel all the things going on in their body and brain, sometimes for the first time, they can feel free and really start to like themselves. So I'm going to give you some easy tips, just real quick ones, nothing major, to begin the journey if you're ready. If you're like, yeah, that's how I feel when certain people do XYZ, it just shoots me off into a rage, or it makes me just freeze. I don't even know how to react to this person. Like, what's wrong with me? You just need to question some of those things and sit down and ask yourself, where did that come from? Where did that start? So I'm going to give you a couple of tips to leave with you today so that you can start just a simple program. 1 or 2 of these is good. 1 is good. You can try them all, try one at a time, however you want to do it, just to start to relax your brain and your body a little bit. So then, and also then, once you start doing that, you can really hear the voice of God after that. You can just first one is taking this deep breath, and you're going to be able to relax into his love. So the deep breathing thing is something I do all the time throughout the day, because ultimately, when you are stressed out, you may not realize this, but you're holding your breath. When people are under deep stress, they're just like this all the time. And they're not really doing big breaths and releasing that bad oxygen out of their body. So you're walking around tight all day long, and then you wonder why. I'm so stressed out. It's like, take a deep breath. So the 4-count breath is just good for every day, for relaxation, for stress, anything like that. So what you do is you take a deep breath through your nose for a count of 4. So it's hold for 4, and then a big breath out. Make some noise when you do that. You could do a big breath out for a count of 4, and you repeat that like in a square, like big breath in 4, hold 4, big release out 4. That gets things moving in your body to where you're getting good oxygen in and you're getting bad oxygen out. And it's just moving things through your body that wakes you up and also connects your brain to a different, like, what is she doing right now? This is crazy. She usually holds her breath all day. And so it's just a really, really simple thing. When I feel myself getting a little fatigued or just a little bit stressed out, I'm like, oh, deep breathing. And I will stop my day and I will do this a couple of times. I'm going to tell you something. When I first started doing this and I did it a couple times in a square, like 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, I got dizzy. I was like, oh, that made me dizzy. And which told me I was not getting enough oxygen in my body. So go slow. You might want to just do 1 or 2. Make sure that you're sitting. So in case you do get dizzy, you don't fall. Take your time. Be kind to your body. This is a big one that I just learned recently. I'm on this quest to just really relax my body after going through this whole migraine thing last year. Before you fall asleep, relax your body by working your way through each part. And I talked about this in my newsletter recently, which, by the way, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, go on my website and sign up for my newsletter. You'll get a little freebie on there. I do something called Tuesday Talks, and I just talk about like what's going on. I have little tips on there for things that are happening, places I'm going to go speak, things like that. So it's just something that keeps you plugged in to the kind of work that I'm doing. When I start to fall asleep, I get under the covers, nice and cozy. And then I noticed this the other day, probably a week ago. I was falling asleep and I was like, I just had such a hard day. Like I had a lot of, wasn't like hard. It was just mentally hard, right? And I noticed I was clenching my fists. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not relaxing. Like I think I'm going to bed and relax, but my body is tense. And we learned this again through our coaching certification program. We did a whole class on laying on the floor on a yoga mat and like relaxing our whole body and asking God like to touch upon the places of pain. And so you start at the top of your head, you relax your neck, relax your shoulders, your eyes, like relax your eyes, close your eyes, relax your hands, open them up. I had them clenched really tight. I just release, right? And then you work your way down. Check how's your stomach feeling? How's your thighs, your knees? And you work your way down, all the way down to your toes to relax your whole body. And ask questions. If you're feeling stress in something, what's that about? Can you relax that part? And just move it down so that you feel better. All of these things during this time, I give thanks to God for all my body parts, the things that worked that day, the good job you did. And when you can relax your body and mind, you're going to get a deeper sleep and you're going to wake up more refreshed. Okay, this next one, it's a big one. You need to talk to a professional if your life is getting too heavy for you. You deserve this. And if you truly want to be different than how you grew up, you might want to consider having someone come alongside you that is a neutral party that can help you. This is something I can help you with if you are having mother-daughter issues and you're just like, man, I'm stuck. There's some things I want to do. I just don't know. That is what my coaching is about. And so I can help you. It doesn't necessarily, I'm helping someone through, a very terrible divorce right now, young girl, and you can just, hop on some calls with me. We can walk through some stories that maybe have been holding you back from your past. We can talk about just some things that you're thinking in the direction that you want to go, and why you're stuck there. This is the holy ground that has been given to me that I take seriously, and I love that God has gifted me with this. And so I would love to help you. Again, you can go on my website and sign up for the Patience and Grace coaching, and we can just help you with these things. If you're ready, you're like, I'm done. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I just want to get to a healthier place, and doggone it, my body and my mind are like, keep dragging me back to this same place, or I'm fighting the same battles all the time. Let's talk about it. And this is the most important step, is just spending daily time with God and asking him to guide you through all of this. You may think that you just happened upon this episode, but believe me, it was a divine intervention. He loves you, and he wants you to be your best so that you can do his work well. Believe me, I didn't let the grid of my emotions or my fear stop me from exploring why I did the things that I did, but rather I let God guide me to explore why the feelings were there so I could do something about them. So I hope this episode helped you. I'm so happy you are here today. And until next time, I will see you later, peeps.